Hello and welcome to a little video all about my latest book, Woodland Walks. Now, it is the second book in this series, A Love of Cloth and Thread. Some of you may know the series already from my first book, Among the Wildflowers, and it's a celebration of vintage embroidery transfers and my interpretation of those. I've had a huge passion for transfers, collecting them over the years. And so all of the transfers in here have been inspired by original embroideries that I've then sort of redrawn and given a modern twist. So if we look at the back here, it's a collection of 25 vintage inspired woodland embroidery transfer designs from myself, textile artist Tilly Rose. Now, let me just run through what we've got in here. You can see some of the designs on this book. Now, this is just a little bit different. My series, I didn't want a book where I told you exactly what to do. I really wanted to give you the tools for you to kind of think, yeah, I like that design, and then go off and create your own designs. So you get my stitchery, which is a pull-out. You can see here by the light, it's a plastic coated pull-out extra feature. And it has all the stitches that I've used in this particular book, and there will be another one in my first book, Among the Wildflowers. And it gives you a brief description of how you can do that stitch, and then you can interpret how you put that into your designs. So, Woodland Walks. Now, what I've done is I've themed them around the seasons of the year, and given them sort of a little bit of history, all about the folklore connected to that as well. So here, lots of them, you do have to have a little bit of poetic license with them, because I've kind of sort of exaggerated some of the flowers or calmed the leaves down to make it sort of a beautiful design. So what do you get for your pennies, so to speak, in the contents? Well, a history of embroidery, the origins of embroidery transfers. Now, I just touch on that sort of very briefly. My own story, how that started, and then these are your stitch embroidery designs. So I've put them into seasons, and you get 4 designs for each season. And I've given you examples here of finished designs. Okay, so I've shown you the colors on each page where I've done a design. You can see which threads I've used, how I've interpreted this. Now, this book is suitable for all abilities, so I assume that you have no knowledge of embroidery, and you may be just starting out. You may be a confident embroiderer and you want to take it in a different way. I've shown you examples here of some of the things in my collection, some of my drawings, and some of the transfers that I have. I've been collecting embroidery transfers really since my needlework O-level days back in the 80s. And I give you a rundown of the sort of threads that I use, a few sort of extra tips, looking at the back of your work, how to change them, etc. And then we go into the seasons. So I'm just going to do a bit of a flick through and show you some of the designs. I'm not going to show everything because I do want to keep some of it as a surprise for when you purchase the book. But you can see here with the ivy wreath, I've shown you some of the design, how that's been inspired by an original, a little bit of information about the ivy, what stitches I've actually used. And then this is an example of using this particular thread, the cotton pearl here, variegated. And then I've done another version here, which is ivy and mistletoe. So this time I've added in some different textures, and just to give you a different feature, and then you can add your mistletoe on top, of course. Okay, winter jasmine and my little robin. Now, some of the pages will have these drawn images onto the linen, and that's where I've used these fabric pens and drawn, and I've then used the transfer on top of the design. Okay, so it's up to you where you put your little red breast on your robin. You might want it sort of a bit deeper in colour or a different version, which is why I've not put it exactly in the design, purely because you can interpret it how you would like to. So let's go through some of the designs, the extras. Okay, so we've got a little hedgehog, meet Norbert, my little snuffling hedgehog. Again, it's been inspired by this little fella here, an original, and then I've redrawn him. I've made him quite furry here with his prickles, but I've used it in different ways. Okay, so summer moths, acorns, leaves, blackberry, bramble, ferns. Here I've given you some inspiration from my mood board. Now these are photographs from my actual walk, and you can see I've put little Norbert the hedgehog here on a little pin cushion, as opposed to an embroidery, and you've got some inspirations here, how you can use them. And then past that, if I just go back a little bit, we've got a patchwork collage. It's in the form of a quilt, but it sort of captures a little bit of magic, a little bit of folklore. It could be used for a picnic blanket, could be used a wall hanging. But again, some of the designs that have gone into that, and that's really based on a crazy patchwork design. And then your transfers at the back are individual pages that you can then tear out of the book. These can be reused 7 or 8 times. I would say if you press very lightly, you could even try it right up to 10, but comfortably 6 to 7, as I say, 8 if you're really lucky. And then once you've torn them out the book, obviously you need to keep them. So we've provided a little pocket at the back, and you've got all your transfers there. Now you do have some extras. So you've got some of my handwriting, you've got templates if you want to do particular sort of designs, and if you look on here, we've got individual little extras. Okay, so that's how you can create your designs and make it your own. Just little extras that we've put in, and I've done them in different sizes. So you can see here the blackberry bramble, and then little bits of ivy. Okay, so lots and lots and lots of inspiration there. And you can find in the different sections here, all the seasons are colour coded. So we've got autumn, summer, and then going into springtime. Okay, so really easy reference, and you can obviously make notes as you go along. So there we go. Woodland Walks, my latest book, 25 original embroidery designs with the iron-on transfers. So I do hope you enjoy. It's only just out, so it's a little newbie sitting out there on the shelves, but I do hope you enjoy.